Hi friends, and welcome back to a new video. Today I'm sharing with you another 10 things I don't own or don't buy as a minimalist. I've done quite a few videos of these in the past. I've kind of themed them things I don't buy for financial reasons, for minimalist reasons, for environmental reasons, but I think in honesty they all kind of have one of those three reasons, so either financial, minimalist, or environmental reasons. These are three aspects that are really important to me. Minimalism is all about adding value to your life by taking away the excess, taking away the things that you don't need, that don't add value, and by reducing the stuff that you have or that is in your life, you oftentimes can save money and save mental space and relieve some stress, and that money and time you save can often be invested in a much better way, in ways that bring you so much more value. And that's the whole point of minimalism and why I really enjoy it. And today I came up with 10 more things that I want to show you, with the purpose of inspiring you to also take a look at things that you have in your home, purchases that you make. Maybe some of these things aren't necessary and can help you declutter your home a little, save a little bit of money, and be gentler to the environment. So number one is food cravings. So let me explain this one. I do a kind of like a weekly meal plan, and then from the weekly meal plan, the meals I plan out, I write out a grocery list and I go grocery shopping and try really hard to stick to that list. But we all know those moments where we walk down the aisles and pass some cookies or some chips or sweets that are just really speaking to us, especially if we're going grocery shopping on an empty stomach. That can be really hard. But I try really hard not to indulge in those. Sometimes, yes, I do, but I do try hard to stay away from those. I also a lot of times have pastry cravings. I'll be out and about and really feel like having a croissant, or some type of cinnamon bun or a warm cup of coffee. But I try hard not to indulge in those, for one, to obviously save money, because those things do add up, and there are those unnecessary, mostly unhealthy, overly processed foods that we don't need. And again, they're often packaged in a lot of packaging, and that is just packaging that I could otherwise save if I didn't indulge in them, which is great for the environment. And a lot of times it's just in the moment impulse, and when that is past, you're totally fine. I don't even crave it anymore. My trick with that is just to pass whatever you're craving by as quick as possible. So if you're in the aisle where there are all the cookies and you are kind of craving them, just quickly walk onto the next aisle or just pass the bakery, and before you can change your mind, you've already passed the store and it's kind of already too late. It is a craving and a purchase that would have been very unintentional, and that is something that I want to avoid. I want the choices in my life to be very intentionally made. The second thing I don't buy, or try very hard not to buy, are new gifts. So when I'm buying someone a gift, I try hard to get it secondhand. Now sometimes, mostly for hygiene reasons, it doesn't make sense, but I do try to first look for things secondhand. So maybe things like books or jewelry or clothes, puzzles or games. I try to look for those secondhand first. Now, just because it's pre-loved doesn't mean that it's in a bad condition. And I think giving gifts is all about bringing the other person joy and bringing the other person value. And I don't think that just because a book is used that it brings the person less value. And that way you can save on money and save on resources. It's just a very simple and small way to go against this throwaway culture. And I personally do not think that gifts need to be new. They can totally be secondhand. I like gifting secondhand gifts, and I also love receiving secondhand gifts because I know that this gift is given in a sustainable way. The next thing I don't buy are cookbooks. I do own a few cookbooks, but I've just found that I never look into these cookbooks. Even though they're great cookbooks, I just forget to look up a recipe in them. I basically just look up all my recipes online. Nowadays, you can find pretty much all the recipes that you could ever need online. by amazing food bloggers. So I just like to look up recipes online, and that way you can also try recipes of a bunch of different people and kind of switch around, and there's just less books and less paper in your home, and you can save money. The next thing I don't buy are cleaning products. Now, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before in some other video, but cleaning products are, to me, very unnecessary. Well, the only thing I clean with is vinegar or diluted vinegar, and it has great disinfecting properties. It is very simple to make yourself, and it's way cheaper and so much more gentler to our health, but also to the environment when we use that to clean. The only other thing I use that is considered a cleaning product is one for the toilet bowl, but I also make sure to get a natural one. So I try to look at the ingredients. All those specific cleaning products that are marketed to us are just complete marketing and not necessary, just like we are marketed so many different pots and pans for different dishes and ingredients that are also just not really necessary. It's just a way for companies to make more money, to make you feel like you need this product because you don't own a tile cleaner when you can use something that you already have to clean it. I've recently also switched out my drain cleaner chemical thing to a plunger. It's just so much better for the environment. It's a one-time purchase that lasts hopefully forever and is cheaper, more sustainable, and just works so much better as well. This way I also don't have a ton of cleaning products that I have to store somewhere, which used to be the case for me. I had a bunch of cleaning products for every nook and cranny of the house that didn't work properly and were just cluttering up my house. So next things I don't buy or own or are one-time items or occasion-specific items. So for example, if you're invited to a themed party or a wedding and there's some kind of dress code for it, I wouldn't, even if there's no dress code for it, I wouldn't go out and specifically buy clothes for that occasion. Same goes for any type of party or seasonal event. I wouldn't go out and buy decor or dishes for it. I just try to use the things that I already have. And if I don't have things that fit the theme or the dress code, I will go and raid my mom's closet or just find other ways to borrow items in a way where I can make it work. I remember back in school, whenever there was a costume party, I was always one that refused to buy a costume because I knew that if I bought a costume, it would just be lying around after the event or the party. I would never wear that again. And so I tried to piece together costumes with things that I already owned. So I remember it was one specific Halloween, I dressed up as a pirate and I was kind of gathering together stuff out of my closet, out of my mom's closet, trying to make it look like Captain Hook's outfit, I think. But it doesn't have to be exactly the same or totally realistic. You can piece together certain things to have the overall look and feel of that costume or whatever you're going for. So you don't have to always buy new things for that specific occasion. You can work with what you already have. Also, when going on trips or holidays, I'm never someone to shop for a specific trip. If I do feel like I need specific things, again, I will try to use the things I already have or try to borrow from people. And the other way around, when I'm shopping for things, I always make sure that the thing that I'm buying has multiple potential use, so that I'm not buying this thing only for this one occasion, or that this dress will only work for this one occasion. I always try to make sure it can be multifunctional. The next thing I don't buy are organizational items. So basically things like bins or organizing helpers, you could call them. I used to buy things like bins to sort and organize things into, but now I don't think that they're necessary and I wouldn't buy them anymore. I kind of learned this from my mom. She's someone that is so creative in this department, and she just uses old paper carton boxes and she cuts them up to the size that she needs, and she uses those in cupboards and drawers and whatever place, and she just uses old packaging and repurposes that to create storage containers, so you don't need to go out and buy things. You can save money, save resources, and you can upcycle something that you would otherwise throw away. And if you want it to look pretty, you can always kind of cover it with either newspaper if you like that look, or with wrapping paper if you prefer a more designed look. So you can also totally customize the size, but also customize the look to what you like. In the old apartment, I needed like a utensils divider thing for a very specific small drawer, and I knew that it would be specific to this apartment, so if I moved out I wouldn't have use for that. I didn't see the justification for buying something just for this drawer in this apartment that isn't even my apartment, that I'm going to move out sooner or later. So I DIY'd my own. I cut up cardboard, I kind of puzzled it in there, taped it in there, and sectioned off my drawer that way, and that worked fine as well. The next thing I don't buy are pens. For some reason, I just always have too many pens. I always end up having an extra here or there. I don't know where I pick them up, and they just last forever. A pen, I feel like, never runs out, and I always have far too many, so there's just no necessity in buying pens. And also, let's be honest, we don't need more than 1 or 2 pens. We don't need a bunch of different colors, a bunch of different pens. I mean, maybe for very specific jobs or people, maybe that would be something for you, but it's just not something that I need. And my drawer can be so much more clutter-free, and I can save money, and it's just a win-win. Next thing I don't buy or own are knickknacks slash trinkets slash trays. Now, don't get me wrong, I love little stores that have a lot of knickknacks or have a lot of little trinkets, like pop-up stores or concept stores. I really love browsing those, and I'm a big sucker for porcelain plates or cups or just beautiful crafted porcelain things. But I really try to refrain from buying those because I know that they will just lie around and collect dust. I mean, unless I have a very specific need for a plate, or I have a very specific function and need for the thing, I won't buy it. Sometimes I find myself looking at a beautiful cup or plate in the store and trying to think of a use and a purpose and a function for this item, and that's when I know I definitely don't need it, when I'm starting to come up with reasons and purposes for the item just because it's pretty. Again, same with your food cravings. I just try to leave the item or the place as soon as possible if I find myself really trying to give in to the craving. I can appreciate it in the store from afar, but I don't need to own it in my house. The next thing I don't buy is medicine. Now, I'm talking about things like a common cold, a migraine, so things that aren't too serious. If I were ever to be very, very seriously ill or needed antibiotics in any form, I would, of course, follow the doctor's advice and take that. But for most things, I try to go the more natural route. I try to drink a lot of tea, a lot of ginger tea. If it's a cough, I try to drink some pear soup or pear tea. If I have a sore throat like I did a week ago, I would drink a lot of sage tea and just have a lot of soothing soups and stews and a lot of rest, and try to get better that way. If I have a headache, I like to try to do some gua sha or use some peppermint oil. So try to use natural remedies that I already have at home. So for 99% of health issues that I have, these things have really worked for me, and so I can be a little more gentler on my body and also on the environment, and I don't need to go out and buy expensive medicine and then have that lying around. I mean, who else has things like cough syrup that you used once because you were sick once a few years ago and now it's just gone bad, and you have so many little bottles of used medicine but you weren't able to use it up, and it's just cluttering your house and you don't really need it. So yeah, I try, if it's not necessary, I don't go out and buy medicine. And the last thing I'm sure I've mentioned before, and that is new fashion or fast fashion. So I'm now in a place where I don't buy new clothes or shoes or bags, I buy everything secondhand. You can find so many things secondhand, things that people have never even touched or worn. But even if they have, I mean, you just put it in the wash and that's okay. And I try to mend my clothes as much as possible. It just saves so much money and saves on resources and money, and also just saves on clutter, because instead of buying those cheap fast fashion clothes, I'd rather have far less but have better quality things. Sometimes, of course, the exception is for hygiene reasons. I wouldn't necessarily buy used undergarments, but if I do buy new things, I try to buy them from sustainable, responsible brands, and definitely stay away from fast fashion brands, because they just don't embody the ethics and the sustainability that I want to support. And with each dollar or cent that we spend, we truly decide what company and what ethics and what practices we want to support or not. It might not be something that we're very conscious about, but every dollar you give out is a dollar that is supporting the company to continue to do what they're doing. So if they're not acting or doing things that you approve of or want to support, then don't buy things from them. Don't give them your money. And also, pre-loved items are just so much cooler. I found that I find so many more unique pieces, so much more cool stuff, sometimes even much older things that are more high quality than I feel like new things are nowadays. I feel nowadays things are made to break within a year or two, and that's just so sad. So these are the 10 things that I don't buy for minimalistic, sustainability, or financial reasons. By very intentionally not buying these things, I've been able to save money and save or be more gentler in the environment and have less clutter in my home, and all that saved time and money can be invested in different ways that mean so much more to me or bring so much more value to me. So it's all about being very intentional with your actions, what you choose to buy or choose not to buy. The goal is to slow down life, to be aware of and be intentional with our actions instead of being so reactive to things, not even realizing what you're doing in the moment. So I hope this video inspired you to also take a look at some areas in your life. What are areas that you're not very intentional with? What are areas where you are already very intentional with? And what are areas where you can maybe also not buy those things anymore, or not own, or you just don't find necessary anymore? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos on my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.